Sorry. Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. So we're going to find sine. What is the abbreviation for sine?
SIN.
SIN. The reason I ask, I had a very, very, very smart student this morning write so of x equals.
I mean, that
technically it's wrong. So
I guess he was just trying to remember.
he was, I guess, anyways, the sine of x equals the opposite over the hypotenuse. So what's my opposite?
18.
18 over my hypotenuse. 30. On your quiz, you leave it as a fraction. So just to refresh your memory, do we reduce fractions?
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Wait. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. I thought you meant
only if we want the correct answer, but it is what it is.
That's correct.
What is 18 over 30 reduced to?
12 over 15.
Divide by 6. 3 over 5.
Oh, I didn't do that.
All right. What is this as a decimal? 0.6.
It's because I didn't do it by 3.
No, it's because you did.
I did it too.
All right. It was not correct?
No, it's not that.
Oh, okay.
It's not that.
Are you making fun of me today too?
No, it's not that.
You missed Justin making fun of me
It's
yesterday.
not that. No, she thinks you're making fun of her. It's. I don't even know where it's from, but he has a hoodie that says "No, it's not that." So
I'll show you later.
Okay.
I want to see it. I want to see it too.
All right, here we go. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so what's my fraction?
24.
He said, I don't
Ooh, that's not a 30. What is this reduced to? 4 over 5, which would be what decimal?
Points.
0.8.
0.8.
I was gonna say that.
That's would be wrong. All right, last would be tangent of x equals the opposite over the adjacent. What's my opposite? 18 over 24. What is this reduced to? 3 over 4, which you should not need a calculator for. What is 3 over 4? 0.75. Yeah, 75 cents. Let's say on your quiz, you didn't know, because you won't know, one of the sides. Do we just write x, or?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Nope. How do you find the missing side of a right triangle?
It's Pythagorean.
The Pythagorean theorem.
B1.
A squared plus b squared equals c squared. You do need to find it. And then you would use that side. I'm telling you right now on your quiz, I've already had many, many kids put x. Don't put x. You can find the side. Capiche?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is from yesterday. We're going to rewrite in terms of sine and cosine. Yesterday we learned that sine and cosine, their angles are complementary of each other, which means if we wanted to rewrite sine of 9 in terms of cosine, we'd write cosine, or cos. And then what would we do with the number 9?
Subtract it from that.
Subtract from 90. So 90 minus 9 is 81. And then we'd move on. So if you were not here yesterday, basically all this means, Colt, is if you plugged in sine of 9 in your calculator and you plugged in separately cosine of 81, they actually equal each other. They're the same thing.
So for every, like, even tangent, 90.
No, not tangent. So it's only in sine and cosine. That's why it's called sine and cosine.
Yeah.
So those two have the relationship.
Gotcha.
All right, so rewriting sine in terms of cosine, we'd write cosine. What's 90 minus 30? 60. So cosine of 60. The next one we got cosine. 90 minus 77 is 13. Yeah. All right, to rewrite in terms of sine, you write sine, and you do the same exact thing. 90 minus 15 is 75. 90 minus 83 is 7. And 90 minus 45 is 45. All right, that's it. Those are those answers. What we learned yesterday as well, we're going to use today, except for it's not going to tell you which trig function to use. You will have to decide which one you want to use. You decide based on TOA. If you have opposite and hypotenuse, then you're going to use sine. If you're given the adjacent hypotenuse, you're going to use cosine. And if you're given the opposite and the adjacent, you'll use tangent. So here's what you do. Step 1, you label the sides. What kind of side is 12?
Opposite.
What kind of side is 12?
Opposite.
Opposite. What kind of side is x?
Adjacent.
Adjacent. So which trig function deals with these two sides?
That is.
Tangent.
Oh.
Tangent.
What?
What?
I caught
Tangent.
I'm looking at it.
Tella. So we're going to set up tangent from what angle?
25 degrees.
Tangent from 25 degrees equals the opposite over the adjacent. What's my opposite? 12. My adjacent. X. Can I just multiply both sides by 12 by the way this looks? No, I need to flip. If I flip the right side, I need to flip the left side.
That's what I missed. Years.
No, this is from...
Yeah, I know on that homework for the last one.
Yes, this is what you need to do. All right, and then what do we do to solve for x?
Multiply 12 on both sides.
Multiply by 12. Round to the nearest tenth.
25.7.
25.7. Is that your calculator or mine?
This is yours.
Okay. I would make sure you know how to plug it in, too. Yes, ma'am.
It's round to the nearest tenth unless told otherwise.
Unless told otherwise, yeah. All right. Any questions on this one? Yes, dear.
So it's 12 times tangent.
Nope.
Is it 1?
This is a 12 times 1 over tangent of 25.
So this.
So the way that you see it is the way you need to plug it in. Yep, good.
And if when we do this, will it say round to the nearest however many? On your
I
degrees?
feel like it does on in the book. Otherwise, just do the 10th. Unless I tell you otherwise.
Okay.
All right, let's do the next. We're going to label our sides from our angle. All right, so what kind of side is x? Opposite, what kind of side is 16? Hypotenuse, across from my right angle. And then that makes y my adjacent. So here's what you missed yesterday. Which letter would we like to solve for first?
X.
She said y. That's fine.
But it's majority vote.
This is my room.
Oh.
I'm the majority. Just kidding. All right, so if we want to solve for the letter y, what side did they give us? The hypotenuse. So we need to decide which trig function to use given these two sides, given the adjacent and hypotenuse. So, yeah. Cosine. So we're going to use cosine from, 41 equals the adjacent. What is that, y?
Y over 16.
Over the hypotenuse, which is 16. Do I need to flip it? No. Plug it in as it is. Should get a number smaller than 16.
12. What do you want it from?
10th place. I'm pretty sure it's 12.2. Or is it 12.1?
12.1.
12.1. All right, so then we're going to solve for the letter x. All right, so we're going to use this side. I highlighted in green. What other side will we use?
Hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse again. We don't want to use the side that we found because we could be wrong. Plus, we rounded there, so it's not the exact answer. So, which trig function are we going to use if we have the opposite and hypotenuse? Sine from 41 equals the opposite, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 16. Do I need to flip this? No. I could just plug it in. So, multiply 16 on both sides. Round to the nearest 10th.
10.5.
Do we all agree?
At least I do.
That's good. If Kaylee agrees, I agree. Alright, so we did not flip this one. Which one are you doing? The first one?
No, I was trying to say I got it.
Continue. We'll move on to the next one. Alright, so from 35 degrees, let's label our sides. What kind of side is x?
Opposite.
Opposite, what kind of side is y?
Adjacent.
Adjacent, what kind of side is 53? Hypotenuse. So we do something similar. Pick a side, x or y.
X.
Okay, x. All right, and then the side they gave us is 53. So which trig function are we going to use?
Sine.
We did this, we just did all these, and now we're here. We are going to use sine from which angle? 35. Equals the opposite, which is x over the hypotenuse, which is... Alright, so do I need to flip anything? Multiply. We do get 30.4. Alright, last we need to solve for y. What other side will we use?
Adjacent over hypotenuse.
Yeah, adjacent over hypotenuse, which would make this cosine from 35 equals y over 53. So multiply by 53. Good. This last one is on the quiz and the test next week. It is not different than anything we've been doing, it just has a radical. But guess who has a fancy schmancy calculator? You do. So you are more than capable of doing it. We do this the same way we've done all of them. From this angle, we label our sides. What kind of side is the square root of 3? Opposite. And what kind of side is x? Hypotenuse. So which trig function do we use for opposite and hypotenuse? Sine. From which angle? 30. Equals the opposite, which is square root of 3, over the hypotenuse, which is x. Can I just multiply by the square root of 3 right now?
No, you gotta flip that.
I gotta flip the right side, which means I'm going to flip the left side. Alright, and then we treat this as if it's any other number. Oops. Sorry, this is a 3. Alright, we treat it as if it's any other number, so what are we going to multiply both sides by?
Square root of 3.
Square root of 3. I'll help you with yours in a second. Alright, what do we get? What do we get before 3.5? Yep, 2 square root of 3. I believe it will tell you to leave it in a radical form on your quiz. But otherwise, the decimal equivalent is 3.5.
I didn't get the radical.